All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Mark Dantuma and Zach Henson on the front row. Aaron Mason, Larry Fairman on the second. Gerald Danos Poole and Rick Sargent on the third row. Blake Lawrence, Mark Nelson on the fourth. Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel rounds out the field. Track temperature still holding, jumped up 1 degree, now 129. Not terribly hotter. As waiting for the last of the drivers to take to the grid. Hey, good evening, Sanjit. How are you? Mark Nelson has not taken the grid yet. And it does not look like the points leader will take the grid here tonight. Will he be starting from pit road is the question, or is he out of the race? Through the final turn, the Porsche pace car heads to pit road. Dantuma in control of the start. The outside line pulls up even. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. They are down and away at Watkins Glen. Dantuma shoots off into turn one. Mark Nelson is rolling off pit road. So the points leader will be out on track here in a moment. Rick Sargent just noticed in a new paint scheme here tonight. Into the bus stop for the first time. Whoa, Aaron Mason takes all the bus stop. Larry Fairman, though, right behind on the attack as Gerald Poole on the bumper. As Dantuma opening up a gap already. And Kevin, sorry to hear that one, buddy. Sanjit, I do not look at messages during broadcast, buddy. Zach Henson in second, 1.4 seconds back. Aaron Mason has third. Larry Fairman in fourth. Gerald Poole currently runs in fifth. Rick Sargent in sixth, Blake Lawrence in seventh, Nicole Creasel holds on to eighth, Mark Nelson back in ninth after starting from pit road. Aaron Mason, Larry Fairman, Gerald Poole, nose to tail. Third, fourth, and fifth place. Rick Sargent back in sixth. Blake Lawrence way wide in seventh. Nicole Kriesel back in eighth. Zach Henson set the fastest lap last time by. Henson only a tenth of a second faster though than Mark Dantuma's fast lap. And now over 2 seconds behind as Dantuma continues to open up a gap. And Mark Nelson has taken it to pit road unexpectedly. Mark Nelson may have just... Mark Nelson is out of the race. Was tonight just a start and park? It appears so. Aaron Mason still holding on to third despite Fairman and Thanos right behind. They have pulled a bit of a gap on Rick Sargent. Rick has got 5 seconds now on 7th place. Blake Lawrence, Nicole Kriesel back in 8th. Mark Dantuma, though, continuing to extend his lead over Henson. Henson a little squirrely there out of that final turn. Pushing it to its limit, trying to gain ground on Dantuma. Meanwhile, Larry Fairman all over Aaron's back bumper. They did give a little bit of a gap on Thanos that time. And Rick Sargent has had a problem back behind. He is going to pit road. Rick coming down the front straightaway toward turn 1. He is way low on entry. Had a bit of a blink as he went off track. See if we can see anything else from a different angle. No, he disappears and we don't get to see that hard hit into the wall, but it destroyed his car. Rick now drops back into 8th place. Dantuma, meanwhile, continuing to extend his lead to 2.3 seconds. Aaron Mason, Larry Fairman, Gerald Poole, all still right there together. Blake Lawrence back in 6th. Nicole Creasel in 7th is closing the gap on Blake at the moment. Zach Hansen set the fast lap again, that time by 1:14.3. Has started to close the gap on Mark Dantuma. Mark Dantuma's lead now only 1.8 seconds at the moment. Aaron Mason has now put a gap as Gerald Poole is slipping by. Thanos now to 4th place, but Fairman looking back to the inside. Thanos managing to hold Larry off for the moment. Now they have to work together to try and reel Aaron Mason back in. Aaron, as they battled, managed to put a 1-second gap on both drivers. Kevin, it seems to be a problem with the Facebook stream right now. The Twitch stream seems to be okay. Mark Dantuma jumped out to an early 2-second lead, but Zach Henson is getting closer. The gap now down to just 1 second. Aaron Mason, Gerald Poole, Larry Fairman still right within striking distance as Gerald is closing back in on Aaron. Nicole Creasel was closing the gap on 6th place, Blake Lawrence, but has now fallen about 6.5 seconds back. And Rick Surgeon officially out of the race. That was an awfully hard hit for Rick. Zach Henson, meanwhile, catching up to the leader. And Zach has caught up to Mark Dantuma. Aaron Mason, Gerald Poole, Larry Fairman, all right there together again. If the front two start battling, could be the opportunity those three behind need to close the gap up on the leaders. Gerald Poole has had a problem back behind. Gerald was in that battle, third, fourth, and fifth. Oh! Hits those rumble strips in the bus stop a little too hard. Gets loose, smacks the wall, some damage to the front end, but he does get it rolling once again. Now he's got a lot of ground to make up. Zach Henson starting to look low on Dantuma. Dantuma not going to fight him. And Zach Henson to the lead for the first time. Kevin, I don't think it has anything to do with your app, buddy. Could be wrong. Nicole Creasel now in 7th place, still trying to close the gap on 6th place, Blake Lawrence. Gerald Poole now back in 5th, lost 8 seconds in that incident. He's got a lot of ground to make up. Dantuma let Henson by with minimal fight and is now staying right in the leader's tire tracks. The top two still nose to tail. Aaron Mason still holds third. Fairman just about 1.4 seconds back and forth. Gerald is starting to close back in on Aaron Mason and Larry Fairman despite the front end damage on the car. He's still got quite a bit of speed. Blake Lawrence back in 6th place, still having a good run. Remember, Blake is race control normally. Still learning how to drive these cars in a lot of these tracks. Aaron Mason in third, not gaining any ground on the top two, but has pulled away to almost 3 seconds on Larry Fairman. Meanwhile, Gerald Thanos Poole just 6.5 seconds back in fifth, and he is closing quite rapidly on third and fourth. Zach Henson leads him around turn one into the S's. Now remember, they will have to make a single fuel stop. And next time by, everybody will be within their fuel window. So could we potentially see some drivers trying to short pit very early in the race? The lap car of Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel just ahead. The leaders will have to get around. She stays wide. Gerald Poole still trying to close the gap down on Larry Fairman. Still holding about 6.5 seconds behind Larry. Larry has started to close back in though on Aaron Mason. That gap now back down to 2.5. And up front, Dan Tuma stays right in Zach Henson's rearview mirror. Larry now back under 2 seconds behind Aaron, continuing to close that gap. Gerald Poole still holding about 6.5 seconds back. I do believe Gerald may actually be faster in the turns, but has to be losing some straight line speed due to the damage on the nose of that car. Everybody now within their fuel window. They can all go the distance from here. Top two continue to stay out, likely to be closer to lap 25 when we see most of these drivers coming in. Gerald Poole has cranked it up a notch once again. He is now just 5.5 seconds from Larry and closing. Remember, this is only Larry's second race of the season. And he is running in the top 5. He has been fast in practice, qualifying, and here in the race. Zach Henson, meanwhile, up front, unable to pull away from Dan Tuma. Mark led the first 10 laps of this race, getting as big a lead as 2 seconds. Hey, good evening, Richie Joplin. Gerald Pools coming around Nicole Creasel now. Gerald was gaining a little bit of ground. And Zach Henson over the last lap has started opening up a small gap on Mark Dantuma, 1.1 second at the moment. Looks like Zach Henson did a better job conserving the tires in the early going. He continues to try and pull a little bit of a gap on Dan Tuma. Meanwhile, Larry Fairman once again closing back in on Aaron Mason. The gap now back down to 2.5 seconds. None of the drivers have come in for their stops yet, but everybody within the window, and we are about at the halfway point. Will we see Zach Henson a wee bit wide there? That did allow Dan Tuma to close right back up on him as they go past Blake Lawrence out of the final turn. Oh, Blake missed a braking point. Almost got into Dan Tuma. Blake majorly overshot that. That was a close call. And Larry Fairman has crashed back behind. Fairman has been on the attack and it almost caught up to Aaron Mason, but out of that second to last, and he can't get the car going. He broke the handle of the steering. Something broke in that car. He takes it into pit road. So Fairman on pit road, he'll be the first one in. He couldn't have timed that incident any better coming out of the second to last turn. It was also perfectly timed right in the pit window. He did take 4 tires and fuel. He comes out fully repaired in 5th place. Will he be able to utilize those fresh tires to get away from the leaders, maintain the lead lap, and maybe run down Gerald Poole? Gerald now in 4th place, 9.9 seconds behind Aaron Mason. Cold tires were a problem in practice. Does not look like they are bothering Larry at all, and here comes Dan Tuma. He's going to give up 2nd place. He is in 4 tires and fuel. I got you, Kevin. Zach Henson still trying to close in and put Gerald Poole is coming in. He will finally get that car repaired. Larry Fairman, for the moment, just barely holds on to the lead lap. Aaron Mason has also stayed out. He is now in 2nd place. Gerald Poole on pit road in 4th. And the leader is in. Zach Henson has come to pit road. Mark Dantuma now rushing through the final sector of the track, trying to get there before Henson gets out. This could be the battle for the win, and it's taking place on pit road. Henson is in his pit stall. Dantuma's on the front stretch. Zach Henson is rolling. Dantuma heads it into 1. Who will it be? Zach comes out just barely ahead of Mark Dantuma. Larry Fairman coming through in for Gerald. Whoa! Nice save by Thanos. He was closing back in on Fairman. Aaron Mason is going to hold on to third as he comes out. And Thanos was drifting back there, and it does not look like the team repaired the car. Blake Lawrence headed into pit road for his one and only stop. Nicole Creasel still will be the last one to come to pit road. Zach Henson has the lead, but it is very small. Dantuma on his bumper. Dantuma looked to the inside as they were headed into the S's. Nicole Creasel has slipped by Blake Lawrence. It looks like Blake got a speeding penalty. He is still sitting on pit road. Nicole has now moved up to 6th. Gerald still holds on to 5th. And last time by, Gerald was the second fastest car on track. The only driver faster than him last time by, Mark Dantuma. Gerald is closing back in on Larry Fairman, but Zach Henson just set the fastest lap. Gerald less than 2.5 seconds behind Larry at the moment. Aaron Mason still in third, 30 seconds out of the top two, but now is a 7-second gap on Fairman and Thanos. Gerald went way wide through turn 1 that time. Blake Lawrence is back out on track, but lost a lot of time on pit road. Nicole Creasel has an opportunity to hold on to 6th place if she has a quick pit stop. Zach Henson set the fastest lap again, and the first driver tonight to break the 114 marker, 113.64. That is the fastest lap we have seen tonight, folks. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to come back later tonight, 9:30 Eastern. SMR Gen 4 goes to Dover. The Monster Mile is gonna get exciting tonight. Mark Dantuma in second, maybe starting to lose a little bit of ground to Zach. Nicole Kriesel has just completed her pit stop. Blake Lawrence managing to slip back by. But Nicole not far behind now. Well, Gerald drifts it out of the penultimate corner again. He is definitely pushing that car. Apparently somebody told Gerald it was a drift competition in the second half of this race. He is pushing the car so hard we have seen him drifting it multiple times since his pit stop. Let's ride around with our leader, Zach Henson, through turn 1. Down the hill toward the S's, carrying as much momentum as possible. Heads into the S's, up the hill. Has to be careful. It is easy to lose grip right there, especially as you get on the power. Full send toward the bus stop. Hard onto the brakes, into the bus stop. Carry as much speed as you dare. Back on power. Coming out into the big right-hander. Back on the power, out of the carousel. Carry it a little bit wide. Then hard onto the brakes, into the penultimate corner. This part of the track gets really slick and greasy, and through the final turn, down the front straightaway toward the start-finish line. And back toward turn 1, Zach did that lap in 1:14.11. Blake Lawrence starting to find some rhythm and some pace here. Has started to pull a bit of a gap on Nicole Kriesel. Worth noting, Nicole has not been in the car much over the summer. She'll be out a couple more weeks, but when she comes back, we are expecting some pretty dominant racing from her. Aaron Mason having an impressive run here tonight, currently in third. Larry Fairman back and forth, was gaining some ground on him. Gerald Poole keeps closing into the back bumper of Fairman. Then he drifts it through a turn and loses the ground he gained. Zach Henson still has Mark Dantuma all over the bumper. Dantuma opened up an early lead. Henson really wide. Did he get a slowdown out of it is the question. Doesn't look like it. But it did allow Dantuma to get to his bumper again. We will see a few of these drivers in that SMR race at Dover, including Mark the Man Dantuma, continuing his From the Back challenge. Aaron Mason could be in trouble. Fairman was closing in. Now he's in the wall. Larry Fairman heads into the bus stop and he is full send. Just loses grip on his way out. Hard hit into the tire wall. Gets it going again, but a lot of left side damage. That bus stop gets drivers all the time. And there you see from the blimp, just straight into it, couldn't do anything about it. Fairman on pit road. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube. We will have a ton of YouTube shorts coming out this week, racing, trucking, and a whole lot more. Don't forget to come back 9:30 tonight. We will have SMR Gen 4 Cup racing as well. Now we saw in the first part of this race that Zach Henson was the better driver, conserved the tires better. Did Mark Dantuma learn from that? Has he been conserving? Larry Fairman has had another problem. Oh, right at the top of the S's. Fairman had just come out of pit road. Does not look like the team got the car fixed. Just coming back up to speed out of the pit exit. Trying to get her back up to speed, coming up the hill, and it doesn't want to turn. Ouch. Dantuma looks inside briefly. Gerald Poole is now up into fourth. Blake Lawrence in fifth. Nicole Kriesel in sixth. And Fairman officially out of the race. Trans Am, yeah, it definitely was very busted. But later tonight, the Gen 4s will not be busted. Those cars will be flying around the Monster Mile. Whoa, here we go. Dan Tuma looks to the inside as they head toward one. He has the nose in. They're dead even headed into one. And Dan Tuma clears out of turn one back into the lead. Mark the Man Dan Tuma reclaims the lead at Watkins Glen. Can he hold off Zach Henson for another 5.5 laps? Did he conserve enough tire to pull away as he quickly opened up a gap on Henson? Henson trying to stay within striking distance. Henson's going to make a move. Dan Tuma forces him to the outside as they head back toward one. A drag race out of turn one. This may be decided in the S's. This is a risky move. Henson clears midway through the S's back to the lead. Meanwhile, Gerald Thanos Poole has closed the gap on Aaron Mason. Thanos has came from over 5 seconds back. Now has 5 laps to close, just 1.5 seconds more. Aaron's held on to third most of the night. Can he hold on for 5 more laps? Zach Henson, Mark Dan Tuma still battling for the lead. Aaron Mason now has his hands full. Gerald Poole has caught his bumper. Blake Lawrence has had further problems. Nicole Creasel has gone to 5th place. 3 laps to go. Who will it be? Mark Dan Tuma stays within striking distance. Gerald Poole still within striking distance. Henson and Dantuma headed toward the start-finish line and 2 laps to go. Does Gerald have anything left after running Aaron down? Does Zach have anything left after having led for so long? Does Mark have enough left to make one more attempt at taking the lead? Oh! Aaron goes way wide, Gerald doesn't. Gerald may have the momentum here. He's got to run. Aaron moves to block. Aaron locks him up. Gerald doesn't. Could he get the run here? Meanwhile, Zach Henson, white flag is in the air. He's got a 1 second gap on Mark Dantuma. Gerald Poole trying to make one last attack here as they go off into the bus stop. Does Dantuma have enough left? He is losing ground to the leader. Gerald's looking to the inside. He outbreaks Aaron into the penultimate corner. Gerald Thanos Poole goes to third. And headed toward the final turn, he held off a hard-charging Mark Dantuma. And Zach Henson will win at Watkins Glen. Mark Dantuma comes home a very strong second, and Gerald Thanos Poole pulls off a amazing move for third. Let's talk to our top three. Thanos, you come home with the podium. It's been a while.
Not quite yet.
Okay, whoops. I forgot that. Now he's got the position. All right, Gerald, now you've got third place. Whoops.
Oh my gosh, I was in such a battle with Aaron, man. He put up such a good fight. I kind of got myself in trouble early, and somebody had a problem, and I got by them, and then I started noticing I was catching up with Aaron, so I figured why not shoot for it, and boy, getting by him was tough. I tell you what, I need to go back and look at that one.
It was definitely one heck of a battle. There was a lot of back and forth there, but a great finish, a great podium. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Gerald Poole comes home in third. Mark Dantuma finishes second. Mark, man, it was quite a battle between you two for the win tonight.
Yeah, Zach just had a little too much for me. Just couldn't quite haul him down, but yeah, it was a heck of a battle.
It's still a great points night going into Bristol, the final race of the regular season, though.
Yes, definitely. Unfortunately, Mark, coming back from vacation, wasn't able to really race with us here. So, but I'm sure he'll still have the points lead going in there, and hopefully we tightened it up a little bit for him.
Well, great job, great finish. Congratulations, buddy.
All right, thank you, Doug.
And finally, our winner, Zach. You guys had quite a battle for the lead up there.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. That was a bunch of good racing. He's a really good driver in road courses.
Yeah, it definitely got exciting there. The first run, it looked like you were doing a little bit better at taking care of tires. And that second run, man, it came down to when you were battling, just who overused them, overheated them.
Yeah, I kept struggling on the second to last turn. I would wash up over the curb and lose so much time, and he'd be right there. I think I was slightly better in the S's than he was. But overall, we were just going back and forth in the time between us.
Well, man, it was a heck of a run, a heck of a win. Congratulations, buddy.
All right, thanks, Doug.
Zach Henson gets the win, folks. Don't forget to come back at 9:30 Eastern, and hopefully by then we'll have the Facebook issue fixed. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you in a bit.